Day means 2 visits to Weatherfield as always. Corey's at 7:30, then again at 8:30, and James Martin's heading to South Wales on his Islands to Highlands tour at 8. In the meantime, from all of us here at STV, whatever you're up to, have a great day.
Good morning, Britain. Quarantine-free travel. From today, those fully vaccinated in the EU and US will no longer need to isolate after arriving here from an amber list country. It's hoped the rule change will help reunite friends and families living abroad. Snacks for vax and journeys for jabs.
It's critically important we encourage our younger people who are not taking up the vaccine.
Why young people could get free takeaways and taxis if they sign up for their COVID jabs. It was a weekend of winners with gold in the swimming and the triathlon, and backflipping brilliance from Charlotte Worthington in the BMX women's freestyle. Plus, he's our greatest ever gymnast, Max Whitlock, takes home another gold after that breathtaking performance on the pommel, and we'll be celebrating with him when he joins us live after 8 o'clock.
And I'm in Melton Mowbray, where it's an absolutely wonderful start, a bit of a chilly start as well. But are we expecting thunderstorms? Join me later in the programme. All that and more coming up on Good Morning Britain.
Monday, 2nd of August 2020. Live from Television Centre in London, this is Good Morning Britain with Sean Fletcher.
Good morning, it's 6 o'clock. Good to have you with us. We're here all the way through until 9 a.m. with Ben and Kate joining me from 6:30. First, though, our top story. A new amber watch list, which could include major holiday hotspots like Spain, Greece and Italy, has been criticised by ministers for being complicated and potentially damaging to the struggling travel sector. The list would aim to warn holidaymakers which countries could soon move to the red list. Meanwhile, from today, fully vaccinated passengers from the EU and US can enter England, Scotland and Wales without the need to quarantine. And international cruises are allowed to resume after a 16-month break. Well, Nick Dixon is at Heathrow and Richard Gaisford is at Portsmouth for us. First, Nick, there are concerns the traffic light system is becoming too confusing.
Morning, Sean. And I think to a degree these are really quite understandable concerns, because you have to remember we currently have, of course, the red, amber and the green list, the amber plus list, the green watch list, and then potentially, as you were saying, the amber watch list as well, if indeed this is confirmed by the government later this week. And if your country ends up on that list, you're going to spend the vast majority of your holiday wondering if you have to make a mad dash to the airport to get back to the UK to avoid quarantine. So unsettling and confusing, certainly, for passengers, but really just a period, again, of uncertainty for international travel.
The travel industry is frustrated. We've got this traffic light list that was announced back in May. It's not necessary now. We've got so many people that are double jabbed, able to travel and want to get travelling again. And more importantly, they want to start spending money and helping to support the thousands of jobs that are going to be lost if we do not get the outbound travel industry fully opened again.
At the end of the tunnel this morning from 4 o'clock, with passengers coming into the UK, or at least England, Wales and Scotland from the EU and the US, provided they are fully vaccinated, they can avoid that quarantine period, as you were saying, Sean, which of course is welcome news. It's led to a real surge in bookings, particularly from places like New York into the UK. But what airline bosses, Sean, what they really want is more countries being added to the UK's green list.
Yeah, certainly do. Nick, thank you. Let's go to our chief correspondent, Richard Gaisford, who's on board a cruise ship in Portsmouth. Good morning, Richard. So having been restricted from offering international journeys for more than a year, today there must be quite a few smiles around you. This must come as a huge relief for the sector.
Yeah, it can't come quickly enough, especially for this ship. This is the Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady, and as you can see behind me, launches in less than 4 hours. It was born into the pandemic, and like most cruise liners around the world, it's been sat there going nowhere fast. The industry itself has been hemorrhaging absolutely billions of pounds and dollars. All of these ships kept going, waiting for passengers to get back on board. The party is about to start on a ship that can take up to 2,800 passengers. Take a look from above here in Portsmouth, in the great waterfront city. You can see this ship sat here ready and waiting to go. The Spinnaker Tower there in the background. And let's meet the man who must be very happy. Tom McAlpin, the boss of Virgin Voyages. Tom, I mean, internationally, you could start travelling from today. You could leave the UK behind. You must be just a little bit disappointed that you didn't make that decision.
No, not really. You know, today is a very special day as we set sail for our friends and family sailing for the first time. And what better way to do it than our roots here in Great Britain? So we're excited to be able to have these a series of 3- and 4-night sailings. We call them the Summer Soiree, to give folks a little seacation, a little way to get away from all the tough times we've had over the past 18 months.
Now, the international travel we know will start to come in over the following months. But how do you stop what happened 16 months ago from happening again? Remember the Diamond Princess, all those ships that were locked down, really horrible scenes on board, horrible times for people. How do you stop that from happening?
Well, those days are behind us. You know, we've taken the last 18 months to study this and understand and invest in new technologies. So we've invested in technology like Atmosair. Atmosair is an air purification system, not a filtration system, uses bipolar ionization to kill 99.9% of all bacteria and viruses in the air. It's a system similar to what hospitals use. We've got enhanced cleaning protocols, but the game changer is vaccines. So we are requiring all of our sailors, we call our passengers sailors, and all of our crew, our aspiration is 100% of our crew vaccinated. And that's a game changer. That really, if you think about it, creates the safest possible way to travel, because we want to really be able to instill confidence back into our consumers and get those folks back. They want to cruise again, so get them back on board. And the best way to do that, I mean, if you think about it, this is safer than going to a theater. This is safer than going to a restaurant and any place around town.
Well, Tom, thank you very much for having us on board. There is a demand for people to get back cruising again. And as we say, that people can go internationally. Issues, though, come as ships stop at various international destinations, Sean. Different rules, different regulations. It is something of a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, it could get very complicated. Richard, thank you. Team GB will aim to add another 7 Olympic medals to their tally today, with sailing, equestrian and gymnastics events taking place this morning. It follows a bumper weekend of freestyle, BMX, gymnastics and swimming success, as Lorna Shattuck reports.
Go GB! Max Whitlock's smallest fan was among the family watching his big Tokyo moment, and he must have heard their cheers, as this near-perfect routine saw him become the most successful gymnast of all time on the men's pommel horse. Max, who once showed off his skills on the GMB desk, is now level with rower Sir Steve Redgrave and equestrian Charlotte Dujardin on 7 Olympic medals. Meanwhile, former chef Charlotte Worthington served up a sizzling BMX trick no woman had ever performed before, a 360-degree backflip, to guarantee gold. Although a false start saw our 100 metres runner Zarnell Hughes out of the race, which was eventually won by Italian Lamont Marcel Jacobs, Team GB did make history in the pool, with a silver in the men's 4x100 metre medley relay, clinching our 8th Tokyo swimming medal. We're now 6th in the medals table overall, with plenty more action today. Team GB's Laura Muir has qualified in 2nd place in the 1500 metres heats. We'll also be chasing golds in the next few minutes in the men's and women's 49ers sailing, while twin gymnasts Jessica and Jennifer Gadarova also compete in the women's floor final. And Team GB are going for gold in the team and individual eventing as well. And while Belarusian sprinter Kristina Simonouskaya hit the spotlight outside the arena, refusing to fly home, saying she fears for her safety there, weightlifter Laurel Hubbard will be making sporting headlines as she becomes the first trans Olympian. It's set to be yet another groundbreaking moment in a Games that's been anything but ordinary. Lorna Shattuck, Good Morning Britain.
A COVID vaccine booster rollout could begin as early as next month, with the aim to get 32 million adults triple jabbed by Christmas. According to reports, pharmacies could help administer the doses to over 50s and some immunosuppressed patients. It comes amid a push to encourage young people to get their first jab by offering food vouchers, cinema tickets and taxi rides as incentives. Well, Nithya Rajan is in Birmingham for us. Good morning, Nithya. So I understand there's been a mixed response from young people so far to this.
A very mixed response, Sean. Young people who don't believe that it's quite the right approach, but also experts who agree with the idea of giving young people incentives, but don't quite think the method is what it should be.
It's critically important we encourage our younger people who are not taking up the vaccine at the moment to do that. However, we've also got an obesity policy which is trying to sort of reduce consumption of unhealthy foods. And for me, there seems to be a conflict between the two. And yet they've got these offer of free food at a time when they really need to be considering their healthy options.
So the idea there, push back against the type of incentive, but I've got 4 young people here who don't agree with the idea of incentives in the first place. Let's come to you first, Romana. Thanks for joining us. You're 25, haven't had the vaccines, don't plan to get them.
That's right.
Exactly the type of person the government wants to get on board. What do you make of the incentives?
I think they're a little bit misleading, almost causing me to lose trust in my leadership. I don't feel like we should need incentives. The vaccine should speak for itself.
Thanks, Romana. Melvin, you a little bit of a different tact. You took the vaccines but didn't need any incentives. Do you think this will work on friends of yours?
No, I don't think so. I feel like the government need to understand that at the end of the day it's a choice and we shouldn't be punished for going to large events just because we haven't had the vaccine. There's still people older than us who haven't had the vaccine and not feeling the pressure, and these imposed sanctions that are due to take place from September will only affect young people more than the older generation.
And Abigail, you also had the vaccines, didn't need an incentive, didn't need discounted Uber rides or pizzas. What made you get them?
I got it because I'm a carer. My parents are foster carers, and I'm like a secondary carer. So just for my safety, that's why I got it. But if I didn't have it now, I wouldn't be in a rush to get it, if I'm honest. And I think the incentives is kind of disingenuous for us. I feel like it's forcing us and we're kind of backed into a corner, and that's why people won't go for it.
Thanks, Abigail. And Kari, lastly, you're a student. You don't want to get the vaccines, aren't planning to. Is it the wrong type of incentives? Do you think more money might help?
I think they will definitely get a larger uptake, but for me, I don't really agree with the idea of incentives. I find it quite manipulative. I'm kind of desperate, and I think if the vaccine is that good, the data should speak for itself.
Brilliant. Thank you all for joining me this morning. So a mixed response there, but again, this comes amidst reports. There are 2.5 million booster jabs on its way around the corner, according to the Telegraph, in September.
Nithya, thank you very much indeed. The UK has joined the US and Israel in blaming Iran for an attack on an oil tanker last week in the Middle East, which left a British national dead. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab said the government believed the drone attack on the ship off the coast of Oman was a clear violation of international law. The strike, which saw a hole blasted through the vessel's bridge, was the first known fatal attack after years of assaults on commercial shipping in the region. Iran denies responsibility. Lewis Hamilton has revealed he is still fighting for his health after contracting COVID last year. The 7-time world champion saw the Mercedes team doctor with fatigue and dizziness after finishing 3rd in Sunday's Hungarian Grand Prix. He later said everything got a bit blurry on the podium and he suspected he was suffering from long COVID. Let's take a look at the weather now. Des Coleman is at Hall Farm in Melton Mowbray this morning. Good morning to you, Des.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to you all, actually. I'm in an arena. I've never been in one before this, and I've never felt this stuff before. This is fibre sand. Why am I here? I'm here because of this young lady, Willa, over in Tokyo. It's a very special day today. Why?
It's an incredibly exciting day for us. It's the final of the eventing where the riders will contest the show jumping. We're currently in gold medal position, which is incredibly exciting.
OK, and it's exciting because in Rio, 5 years ago, we didn't actually medal, did we?
We didn't actually medal, but we're current world champions and we've got a very strong team out in Tokyo, so it's an incredibly exciting day.
It's not just a team, it's an individual event as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an individual event, which the final for that also takes place today. We're again in gold medal position for that as well as bronze, so everything crossed and a hugely exciting day.
And when it comes to 3 years' time in Paris, you talk about team, you'd love to be in Team GB, I take it?
It's every athlete's dream to go to Paris and to go to an Olympics, so it's something I'm working incredibly hard for, but it's a huge team effort and hard work along the way.
But it's not just about you, it's about this beautiful creature as well. This is Paul, I know. It's about you and the horse, yeah?
Yes, no, definitely. It's about the combination and finding these horses and having owners that will support you along the way.
Absolutely fantastic. Listen, Paul, one thing to say, why the long face? All the terrible jokes come out right now. It's too early in the morning for that. Let's talk about the weather, shall we? Because it's not a bad start over the course of today. A lot of bright skies around and dry weather too. And towards Scotland, they do have a bit of a lot of cloud. That cloud, fortunately, is going to break as we push into the afternoon. And it does seem as though they're going to see the best of the weather. Towards central England and towards Wales, we are going to see a line of showers moving across. The problem with those showers is that they're looking as though they are going to be fairly sharp. They could turn thundery. The Met Office is considering, they haven't as of yet, but they are considering issuing a thunderstorm warning. Outside of that, in the sunshine and in the light breeze, temperatures climb to around 20 degrees and further north climbing to the mid-teens. Now, once we do head into the overnight story, those showers will tend to die away. It's going to be another fresh feeling night, bit of a chilly night actually. In the more rural spots, temperatures are going to dip down to single figures, but outside of that, just holding up into double figures. And then we wake up and enjoy the day that is tomorrow, looking as though it's going to be the best day of the week. Yes, we are going to see a number of showers, whether you're in Northern Ireland, Scotland or England, but those showers certainly shouldn't be as sharp as what we'll see today. Temperatures fairly similar. Now, if you're looking to our weather story towards the rest of the week, unfortunately, that's when it becomes a little bit more unsettled, and that certainly means that you're going to need your brolly.
Des, that was a terrible pun earlier on. Stop horsing around. Sorry. Ha
ha ha! Love it! Love it!
He loves it. He loves it. So I'm happy. Good Morning Britain is here all the way through until 9 o'clock with Ben and Kate here from 6:30. The lifting of restrictions for fully vaccinated arrivals to the UK from the EU and US begins today. But critics warn it's not without risk. Travel expert Paul Charles joins me next. Plus, Wilden Jovu has the latest from the Love Island villa as the trouble continues after Casa Amora. First, let's get the news, travel and weather where you are.
Hello, good morning. I'm Sasha Spratt with your Good Morning Britain headlines here in Scotland. Local authority cleaning staff should self-isolate if they've been identified as a close contact, even if their employers have applied for exemptions. That's the call from the GMB union, who say coming back to work would still not be safe. The Scottish Government says exemptions will only be granted if staff agree.
I've got a family, majority of the women and guys that I work with, I've got families. There's still people that are vulnerable, maybe expecting their first child, so why should we be risking it? If we're that critical, then it should reflect on how they treat us.
Fully vaccinated visitors from the US and the EU, excluding France, will no longer have to quarantine on their arrival. They will, however, need to provide proof of vaccination and return a negative test before their departure and 2 days after they arrive. The Scottish Government announced the change last week. And a charity in East Lothian is aiming to replace no ball games signs with play-friendly banners. It's hoped the new signage will encourage children to use open spaces to get active, improving their physical and mental well-being. Now here's Philip with your weather.
New Rain Relief for Allergies Eye Mist sponsors the local weather on Good Morning Britain.
Hello, good morning. Well, it is a bit of a chilly start to the day, especially for the time of year. At the moment, we've got high pressure building across the country. That's helping to deflect a lot of cloud and rain that's trying to push in from the west. For many, a largely fine and dry day with plenty of sunny spells. Cloudier conditions further north and to the east, where we have the odd risk of the light shower. Temperatures reaching highs of 18 or 19 degrees. Bye-bye.
That's all from me for now. I'll be back after 7 o'clock. Now it's back to Sean in London. Bye-bye.
Let's take a look at the front pages. The Daily Mail leads on Team GB's medal haul and describes Charlotte Worthington and Max Whitlock as flipping marvels after they both won gold in their events. England footballer Tyrone Mings has told The Sun that he had a tough time during the Euros and needed therapy for mental health problems. The Three Lions star said he had no shame in admitting that. And the Daily Telegraph reports on the COVID vaccination booster programme, which is due to begin next month. The paper reports that all over 50s and the immunosuppressed will be offered the booster jabs, adding that ministers are considering giving people a different brand of vaccine from their first and second shots, as early trials suggested. Mixing jabs could boost the body's immune response. Returning to our top story now, and a new amber watch list which would aim to warn holidaymakers the countries that could soon move to the red list has been criticised by ministers for being complicated. Meanwhile, from today, fully vaccinated passengers from the EU and US can enter England, Scotland and Wales without the need to quarantine, and international cruises are allowed to resume after a 16-month break. I'm joined now by travel consultant Paul Charles. So Paul, so much to get through there. So including that amber watch list. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, the fully vaccinated people from the US and EU can come here to England, Scotland and Wales without isolating. This is good news for the travel industry, isn't it? But is it too little, too late?
It is good news. Good morning, Sean. It's very welcome because it's actually opening up travel, which is what we want to see, of course, enabling more visitors into the UK. They account in a normal year for about £28 billion of our economy. So they're a really important group, not just for holidays, but also for obviously seeing family and friends. But it's not enough, I'm afraid. It's not enough to salvage this summer. We need ministers this week, when they review those traffic lights again, to actually widen the green list, create more confidence among consumers and enable more of us to go abroad to see family and friends, as well as take trips with certainty.
Yeah, so just on the EU and US double vaccinated being able to come here, what implications does that have on us being able to go there? Will that change things in that sense?
Well, it's really good news for airlines and for hotels who rely on rooms, their flights. But, of course, some countries are not reciprocating. And in fact, since the government made the announcement last week, we haven't seen any countries offer reciprocation, as it called. For example, we haven't seen Italy remove its 5-day quarantine for UK visitors to go there. So it seems to have backfired at the moment on the government in terms of working with other countries. And certainly diplomatic relations between the UK and some countries like France are at their lowest point at the moment because of the restrictions currently in place.
OK, Paul, let's get on to this amber watch list. You touched on it. I mentioned it in the link to this item. The Times has got it on their front page. Tories revolt over new crackdown on holidays. Amber watch list will devastate travel industry, ministers say. So this is a list for amber countries that could possibly go onto the red list. And when I first saw this, I thought, isn't that good news for travellers? Because if you're abroad, you'll be warned if there's a chance that the country could go onto the red list. Because before, we've seen travellers abroad, say in France, and frantically trying to get back because they've only got 5 hours to get back to Britain before they have to isolate. But it's not good news, is it, for the travel industry?
No, I mean, it's caused a lot of distress in the past, of course, both anxiety and financial distress to people having these last-minute changes. And adding another category to the traffic light system will cause even more confusion. It would be a disaster to bring in an amber watch list on top of the amber list, the green watch list, the green list, the red list. We're getting so many colours, it's no wonder people are getting confused.
But Paul, sorry to interrupt, just to pick you up on that, but isn't the reason that the thing that we won't actually have those mad dashes, because we'll know that the country is on the amber watch list, so we'll know that it's likely to go on the red list?
It doesn't make any difference to what we've got today. And today, with the amber list, the government can change to red at short notice. So, frankly, we've already got an amber watch list. We don't need another one. The whole traffic light system itself is failing now. It's not doing what it set out to do, which is to encourage the travel sector to fully recover. We need to see something like the US have got. It's really simple. If you're fully jabbed as a US citizen, you can go anywhere if that country will let you in, and then you just take a pre-departure test before you come back, and that's it. And then there's no quarantine. Why aren't we doing something similar to what the US has? At the moment, the system in the UK is choking off recovery, and it's not helping the sector because there's no confidence to book, because people are worried about places changing at short notice anyway.
Paul, let's have a word on cruises. International cruises start from today. I think it's about 3 or 4 hours, isn't it? They'll be able to set off. I mean, I'm not a cruiser. This is great news for the cruise industry and people who love cruises, but I've heard cruises sort of talked about as sort of COVID soups and a petri dish for COVID. Should we be concerned, really?
No, some 2 million Britons go on a cruise in a normal year. There's huge demand for them. And they're one of the safest places to be because cruise lines are used to dealing with outbreaks on board, maybe food poisoning, for example, or other outbreaks. They have really good procedures in place. And I'm excited about the cruising sector restarting. There is this enormous demand. I think they've got the best protocols in place. Most people on board, if not all, will be fully jabbed under these protocols. The cruise lines know what they're doing. They wouldn't be restarting if they thought there was a major threat.
Paul Charles, we had a lot to get through. I'm looking at my list. I've ticked everything off, so thank you very much. Really good, succinct answers. Good to talk to you. Will and Jovu is here now with the latest entertainment news. And last night's Love Island was one to remember, wasn't it, Will?
Morning, Sean. Yes, last night was filled with nothing but drama, and that's what we love, though, right? Casa Amor is no more, but the fallout continues. Before we get into anything, though, here's your spoiler alert. Don't say I didn't warn you. Sorry if you didn't watch the show, but here's all the gossip that you need to know, okay? Now, it's been a rough couple of days for Loverboy Liam following his deceitful lad's holiday in Casa Amor, which saw him get frisky with blonde bombshell Lily. But despite all their cuddling and canoodling and kissing, he decided to return to the main villa alone to pick up where he left off with his other bae. Can you imagine? His other bae, Millie. Now, Mills was all over the moon. You know, she loves him, glad to have him back. But her happiness was short-lived as Lily turned up in the villa and exposed everything he'd been up to, leaving Millie heartbroken. Things got real awkward for Liam when Millie met Lily for a tell-all chat. She spilled all the tea. Surely things can get any more worse, though, right?
He said, like, obviously out of everyone, I was the girl that he fancied the most. He was a bit flustered in the bed situation, so he had to, like, turn around and... Shut up. Shut up. There was cuddles, yeah. In one conversation, there was three kisses.
Millie's here! Liam said they had one kiss, they had three.
Well, they had three in one conversation.
Oh, they're all shocked about it, aren't they? Doesn't sound like it's going well. I only want you.
Liam.
All right.
How can you say that?
Besides everything, can you see a picture of me?
Love the way you lie.
Well, I don't know why he looks so surprised. You cheated. That's what happens. You deserved it. Once a cheater, always a cheater. But look, I have to talk about Toby, the most disloyal man in that villa. His head has been turned more times than an exorcist. And it looks like he could soon be heading for hot water once again, judging from last night's ending.
I'm in a bit of a pickle. I'm with Mary. Brought Mary back. Didn't expect Abby to be by herself. She seems like she wants to still get to know me. But my head is with Chloe.
Every time he sees a new girl, his head is turning. His head is turning. Can you just chill? Don't you know what loyalty means, sir, boy? You know what? I'll be real, though. I'll be honest, okay? He is TV gold, you know, and everyone's seen it, and fans have flocked to Twitter to share their appreciation. One fan said, Toby is the king of reality TV. We must carry that man to the final. Another said, I want to be on Planet Toby. No thoughts, pure delusion and vibes. Some fans aren't even calling the show Love Island anymore. No, because it's not Love Island, it's Toby Island, okay? All I'm saying is, if this man wins, I'm calling the Love Island police. I'm calling them, yes, they exist. And I cannot wait for Toby Island tonight. There's going to be even more drama, so make sure you tune in at 9 p.m. on ITV2.
Toby Island, the spin-off. Will, thanks very much indeed. Coming up next, Ben and Kate will be here in just a moment. We're live with Olympians Max Whitlock and Charlotte Dujardin after their history-making medal wins. Plus, we'll be looking at our podium chances as we enter week 2. That's after 8 o'clock. Right, let's catch up with the weather with Des.
Wow, everyone! It's lightning! Proud sponsors of Good Morning Britain National Weather, Boxed Boilers.
Well, this is the second day of a brand new month, and it's not a bad start, as a matter of fact. Bit of a chilly one, but over the course of the day, we'll certainly see sunshine and showers. In fact, right now, across England and Wales, it's not a bad start. A lot of broken cloud around, so decent bright spells coming through, whilst in Scotland, there is a touch of cloud. Having said that, it looks as though they'll see the best part of the weather, because we're going to see that cloud breaking, we're going to see dry conditions and light winds, whereas towards Northern Ireland, towards England, central England, I think we'll start seeing a scattering of showers sweeping in from the southwest. Now, those showers look as though they could turn fairly heavy. The Met Office are thinking of issuing a thunderstorm warning. That hasn't happened as of yet, but you'll certainly need your brolly if you catch a shower. Temperature-wise, mid-teens towards the north and 20 degrees towards the centre of the UK. Now, heading into the overnight story, those showers do look as though they're going to die away. We're going to continue with that fresh feel. Quite a benign night, not an awful lot going on. Winds fall fairly light, temperatures dipping down to single figures in the more rural spots and just remaining in double figures in the towns and cities. Then we wake up and enjoy the day that is tomorrow, which is a similar sort of day to what we see, a scattering of showers, certainly not as heavy and more in the way of sunshine. I think tomorrow actually is probably looking like the best of the weather-wise when it comes to the weather, best of the days. Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, that's where things turn a little bit more unsettled. I think we see a system coming in, and those showers again over the course of the latter 3 days of the week could be on the sharp side. For the weather where you are in detail, go to itv.com/weather.